Good day to the honorary judges. So I am Dr. Karis from the Faculty of Industrial Management at UMPSA, and I will be presenting on the study Corporate Sustainable Development Leveraging on Process Management Practices and Knowledge Management Capabilities. So as an introduction, with the increasing global significant competition, organizations these days without a doubt have started uh, understanding the significance of knowledge and learning to enhance the possibility of organizations to reach higher levels of corporate sustainable development. So this can actually be seen by the increasing number of organizations in Malaysia that have started recognizing that their knowledge management capabilities are key resources for heightened performance. And these organizations have also started understanding that knowledge management capabilities are an intangible resource that is crucial for business organizations to sustain a competitive advantage for their long-term sustainability. This finding was uh, attained by Aman and Yusuf in the year 2023. So to continue, developed countries have reaped substantial benefits by rigorously adopting knowledge management capabilities, which coherently has led to corporate sustainable development because these countries have access to information strategies, up-to-date technologies, and abundant resources. Once again, this is based on a study by Barantes, Brisno, Santos, and Nagano from the year 2024. So what is the problem that we want to highlight in this study is that developing or underdeveloped countries, on the other hand, operate in a more resource-constrained environment compared to their counterparts in developed countries, with limited access to technologies, and they may not have the finances to invest in further or extensive research and development. This finding was identified by Nadinch and Backhouse in the year 2023. So next, I would like to highlight the research questions addressed in this study. So first and foremost, we are looking at the direct relationship between process management implementation towards corporate sustainable development in Malaysia. Secondly, we are looking at the direct relationship between process improvement implementation towards corporate sustainable development in Malaysia. Thirdly, the direct relationship between process control implementation towards corporate sustainable development in Malaysia. And lastly, is the relationship between process management practices and corporate sustainable development stronger when knowledge management capabilities is higher or functions as a moderator? So this is the conceptual framework of the study. If you see on the far right, we see the dependent variable, which is your corporate sustainable development, which comprises of three domains: the environmental development, economic development, and social development. Next, if you see on the far left, process management practices, which comprises of process design, process improvement, and process control. And in the middle, you will see knowledge management capabilities, which functions as the moderator of the study. So moving on to the research methodology of the study. So the research design of this study was a quantitative study. And the inclusion criteria or the population of this study were all ISO 9001 certified manufacturing corporations listed in the Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers Directory. So in terms of looking at this directory, a total of 996 certified organizations were identified. So the sampling technique used was census sampling, which means the study or the data collection was done at one point of time, and the unit of analysis is each organization. The respondents were human resource managers or operation managers or executives or other fitting officers within each organization. The response rate of this study was 21.9%, which is quite significant. The data collection period was 3 months, and the data analysis tool used was Smart PLS version 3.0. Moving on to the results and discussion. Addressing research question 1, process design showed a positive relationship with all three domains of corporate sustainable development. The reason for this result is because organizations are keen on adopting process design for the improvement of their sustainability, and corporate's performance right from the designing process and planning stage and even implementation stage. Moving on next to the second finding of this study, which addresses the second research problem. We see that there's a positive relationship between process improvement and social development. This finding could actually be due to the continuous demanding consumers out there that demand or require organizations to increase their improvement initiatives in their organizational processes. This is to address extensive sustainability issues within and outside the organization. The next finding of this study addresses research question 3. So process control was identified to have a significant relationship towards all dimensions of corporate sustainable development. The possible reason for this situation could be because process controls are sometimes used in corporations to actually monitor the environmental, economic, and social reach of the operational processes, which generally optimizes their sustainability and efficiency. So how process control works is when organizations actually have a SOP or standard operating procedure, and in case of certain deviations, they move back to the SOP. They ensure that everything is running smoothly in all aspects to make sure that all three domains of corporate sustainable development is reached for their long-term sustainability. Moving on to the final result of this study, which addresses research question 4. Knowledge management capability noticeably has a significant moderating effect on process control towards environmental development among ISO 9001 certified manufacturing organizations in Malaysia. So this finding is actually supported by Santos et al. From the year 2023, whereby their study identified that the integration of process control alongside high levels of knowledge management capabilities has significantly reduced the carbon footprint, environmental effect, and total wastage in the organization, while increasing the use of renewable resources has achieved superior quality products for the sustainability of the organization. Moving on to the novelty of this study. So the findings of this study resulted in an assessment instrument to help organizations identify the present level of corporate sustainable development in Malaysia. So this assessment instrument actually forges a path for corporations and policymakers to plan and heighten their process management practices, knowledge management capabilities, and existing corporate sustainable development levels. From there on, they are able to project how they could increase their corporate sustainable development in the near future or in long term. In terms of our industrial collaborations, we are in the process of finalizing industrial collaboration and attaining a letter of intent from Peneraju Hijau Sendirian Berhad. So in terms of the publications, we have one publication in ERA Index Journal and 4 publications in Scopus Index Conference Proceedings. With that, I will move on to the conclusion of this whole study. So in general, process management practices are not an additional burden on corporations, but does provide significant benefits for the organization. So the results of this study should motivate managers to adopt process management practices to achieve higher level of sustainable development. So in total or in general, taking advantage of knowledge management capabilities can improve business processes, which ultimately leads to greater efficiencies and effectiveness in the organization for their corporate sustainable development. With that, thank you so much for your time.